Victoria touring with Hawthorne Heights as support.
Are we opening for those two? Is that the news? We're doing a live with John Rather set.
Yeah, but they demanded that we dropped you and had Nathan instead.
Oh, man. Am I being replaced?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Would Nathan Rather, the podcast.
Whoa, what's going on?
It's my show now?
No, you were here for holiday cover. Both the Johns are back. Johns, you both here, are you not?
Hello, I'm John.
Someone's stuck on the motorway.
For the last time, I'm not stuck on the motorway.
Right.
Just can't believe I'm being replaced.
You're not being replaced.
Oh, no, wait, you're being replaced. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I told you we should have explained it.
No, it kind of works out well. So, as I said...
No, brother.
I'm still here. No, I'm still here.
Brother, we're very grateful for you coming in and supporting us during holiday cover, but your presence is no longer required.
Wait. So you make him give up his evening? It's been about half an hour now. You've made him lose half an hour of his evening just to go, no, goodbye.
I didn't even know he was here.
So, just like politics, it doesn't work out in everyone's favour. So, should we put it to a vote?
And just like politics, it doesn't matter what the masses vote. I'm in charge, and I request you leave, brother.
Well, you know what happens when you request someone to leave? It takes 2 years, and you still don't actually get them out.
Wait, and that's a good point. If we get rid of Nathan, will someone who none of us want replace him?
I'll get my brother on to see how you like that.
Especially after the episode a few weeks ago.
Oh, he's not going to go and listen to them. I'm putting my money on that.
You'll ask him, would you like to come on the podcast? No.
And to make him listen to it, it'd need to be a bit like Clockwork Orange, where you like strap him to a chair.
Strap his ears open.
Yeah.
One of my favourite beers is Clockwork Tangerine. It's bloody brilliant.
Cool.
Not blood orange brilliant.
Brother, please leave. You have been evicted from the Would John Rather Big Brother house. Please do not swear.
Bollocks.
That's harsh.
Right, now that we've got that shit over with, welcome back to Would John Rather. It's how you remember it. There are Johns. I'm asking questions. It's exactly like you thought. Please do not send us hate mail because we've kicked my brother off after helping us out for a few weeks. Shall we dive right in?
Let's.
I prefer Nathan.
Would you rather always be serious or always be joking?
That's very deep. That's very deep for my first time back. Gosh.
Very deep for your first time. There's an innuendo there.
I'd rather always be serious. Only joking!
So you want everyone to think you're joking all the time?
No, I'm being serious. I was joking.
Yeah, by saying that means that you actually want to believe that people think you're joking?
No, I was being serious. I'd much rather always be serious because there's a folk's tale, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. If you joke too much, people just get bored of you and don't really care what you think anymore.
And more importantly, you get eaten by a wolf.
Yeah, and then you get eaten by a wolf. That's the moral dilemma that you face.
I think I'd rather everyone thought I was joking all the time.
I can't take you seriously.
Well, just think of it. I could commit a murder spree, and then they were like, John, what happened here? You're covered in their blood. Yeah, I murdered them. Okay, well, it's obviously not him because he never admits that because, he's such a funny guy. No, wait, no, seriously, yeah, it's also all their blood. It's completely my fault. Oh, John, you're so funny. You could never do this. I could get away with a lot, I reckon.
Whereas I think that I could get away with murder the same way.
Yeah, see, I don't think that flies because you're trying to be serious and people are taking you joking. That wasn't the question. It's not do people envision you being serious or joking all the time, but you actually have to be serious or joking all the time.
Because I pride myself on my integrity.
Could I be sarcastic and get away with it? Or could people think I'm being sarcastic? Where's the line drawn?
But you just always have to be joking.
Is sarcasm a joke?
Yeah, it's the lowest form of wit, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, but if I was joking all the time, I could just tell relentless puns.
I mean, there's nothing stopping you now, but this podcast begs to differ.
I'd have to give up my work and then go to some sort of comedy club and just live there and work on my craft. Because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to commit wholeheartedly. But unfortunately, at the moment, I have a wife and a child to support, so I'll just have to do what I can.
Unfortunately, I have a wife and child.
I'm doing it for the art. I'm doing it for the podcast. Can you not appreciate that?
I can.
And anyway, I'm really joking. Of course, I'd never abandon them to take up residence in the bottom of a comedy club. Or would I? Who knows? Oh.
Well,
So what's the benefit of being serious all the time?
people,
Think you got a stick up your ass?
they know you mean business. When you turn up at the negotiating table,
When was
know
the
that
last
you're-
time you turned up at a negotiating table, John?
they know you're not messing around.
When
Oh, this
was the
is my
last
new-
time you turned up at a negotiating table?
It's going to be my new career. I'm going to be a negotiator.
Who's... who's funny now?
Why can't I be a negotiator?
Because I'm winning the podcast. Surely I should be the negotiator.
Surely the best thing.
We're going to get you that helicopter. It's fine, mate. Well, yeah, we'll just let you escape with killing all the hostages.
I don't think he meant a police negotiator. I think he meant a business negotiator.
No, there's no such thing.
Yeah, trade deals.
It's Nakatomi Towers from Die Hard or Nothing. That's what it is.
It's all right, John, because he's only joking. You carry on your argument.
Well, I mean, John thinks he's winning the argument or the podcast or whatever. But the best thing about being a negotiator is, or someone who's a successful negotiator, makes everyone feel like they've won. So the fact that you already feel like you've won means that I am a good negotiator, which means I'd be good at being serious, which means something.
Just to clarify, before we continue, I just want to make sure we're all aware there are no winners on our podcast, only losers.
We're all losers.
We're all losers.
Just different scales of loser.
Yeah. I mean, how would it apply to your general life?
Which one of us?
Both? That's how debates work.
Well, I tend to sort of smile and laugh my way through my life's pain, so nothing would really change for me much. I think I'd just make more of an effort to exaggerate things and to make it more comical than it already is. So I think I'll be able to cope pretty well. And I'd always be looking on the lighter side of life. Not going to get so down and so miserable about everything. Just have a slight perspective change.
I think always being serious obviously has its downsides, but if you're always serious about stuff, you can be serious about making people laugh. So it doesn't mean that you can't make the odd joke. You just have to be serious about it. And I'm serious
like
about
Arnold
succeeding.
Schwarzenegger in Twins.
Yeah, why not?
I didn't think of this when I came up with the question, but it's just occurred to me now. It's kind of an argument. Would you rather be Peralta or Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Rolter.
But they're both funny.
I've never seen Holt. Like you said, he's making jokes, but he's always serious.
Yeah.
Like
I think the funniest Holt lines are when he's being deadly serious, and then everyone laughs at him, not with him.
Where he's showing Peralta the pictures on his phone of him doing the hula hoop, and he's like, "But why?" It's like, "Because no one will ever believe you," and then he deletes them all.
Have you? One of my favourite ones was when they have to find a body double for Cheddar, his dog, and they present him with a dog that looks identical to Cheddar. He turns around and says, "That's not Cheddar. That's some basic bitch."
Rest in peace. The dog who plays Cheddar has passed away.
He has indeed. That's very sad.
Sometimes Peralta can be a bit overbearing, you know? I mean, obviously he brings a lot of life to the show, but if you had to live with that guy, sometimes you just want some peace and quiet.
Yeah, how does Kirsten cope?
Fuck knows. Not my problem.
And on that, joking wins because you just said it's not your wife's problem and you're always your wife's problem. And that's something I think John understands better than you do. So, joking wins.
Woo!
And I think one of the good things about if you're always joking, people will get used to you always joking, which means, you know when you're passive aggressive and everyone just laughs and they're like, oh, he's just being funny. And you're like, oh, good, I got to say the thing I really mean out loud. But nobody believes me.
Yeah, it's like a weight off your chest.
Yeah. I think that would be a huge benefit. Whereas always being serious, it's sometimes certain situations need a bit of levity.
I couldn't deal with everyone hanging on my every word. I don't say half the things I mean. I'm sorry, I don't mean half the things I say.
Let's be honest. If you always had to be serious and always had to be joking, it would be terrible in both instances.
Oh, definitely. And the whole time during the whole conversation in my head was just the character, the Joker, saying, why so serious, again and again on a loop. So I was like, is he always joking or is he always serious? I'm not sure. But it doesn't matter because he's fictitious. So, it's been a while since it's been the three of us. Do we have a suggestion of the week? You've both had a fortnight of holiday to prepare.
I do. I would like to suggest that people use the word has more often.
I can has cheeseburger?
Yep.
Has you got a reason or an example?
Because a lot of people, far too many people in my opinion, use the word have when they mean has.
Can you use it in a sentence?
So somebody might say, the bank have overcharged me. What they mean is, the bank has overcharged me.
I can't think of an example of that happening in, like, a year.
It happens all the fucking time, believe me.
Maybe it's because you live in London.
No, it's not.
So could I say, what the bank have done is they have overcharged me in this instance.
No, because there's only one bank.
They have done something. They've not has done something.
So,
what have they done? They have done the thing that I've said.
Sometimes it's appropriate to use the word have.
Sometimes it's appropriate.
Sometimes.
So, like, for example, on Monday I purchased a new kitten. So I now has 2 cats.
I'm not saying that has always replaces have. Otherwise, there'd be no point in the word have. No,
but your suggestion of the week was people use the word has instead of have more often. You never said in the correct context. So it's like there is a limit of how much has and have need to be, and it needs to be 50-50. And you said it's leaning too much towards have. So as long as enough people use the word has instead of have, you're happy with that?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, to be honest, at this stage, if people start using has instead of have, they'll be right some of the time.
So, is your brother now not part of the podcast? So is he now a have-been?
He was a has-been.
No, John was saying we need to use have.
Oh, no, so he's a have-been.
That's actually the opposite of what I said.
So my brother have given up 30 minutes of his life to record the introduction with us.
Yes,
Anyway, that's our suggestion of the week, and I think we all has had enough fun with it. Shall we go on to question 2?
Yeah.
Just so the audience know, I will cut out the silence while they figure out what the question is, because it's another one of those. Would you rather be amazing at modelling or an amazing model?
I'd rather be amazing at modelling.
What would you model?
Anything I wanted.
Fucking ambitious.
I'd rather be an amazing model because I've always wanted to look like Morph.
Well, no, you can be a model as a human.
No, I don't want to be. I want to be Morph.
Well, then you should have picked to be amazing at modelling, and then you could have made Morph.
No, I don't want to make Morph. I want to be Morph.
So you're going to put on a Morph suit and you're going to demand Leonardo DiCaprio paint you like one of his French ladies?
No.
What was Morph's friend called? Because Morph was clay, and then he had the friend that was, like, beige.
So, I sometimes write, we keep this spreadsheet of questions. Sometimes I type them up as we go so that I don't forget. And I've written amazing at modelling or an amazing morph. Oh.
More. I've googled it. Morph's friend, who was cream coloured, is called Chaz, who is much more badly behaved.
Never
Sorry.
liked him.
I could model both Morph and Chaz and do my own little stop motion series where Chaz becomes a reformed human being and stops being a prick.
You could.
Because I could be an amazing modeler. You know I don't want to burst everyone's bubbles and ruin everyone's fantasies, but are we all aware that Harry Potter is fiction?
Yeah. I mean, spoilers for anyone that's not seen the last film or read the last book.
Allegedly.
There is no platform 9 3/4.
There actually is a platform 9 3/4.
No, at King's Cross there isn't. There's no
there
gap.
is. There is.
No, it's
there
just
is.
a random sign on the wall. It's not actually a platform because J.K. Rowling admitted it. She was actually going through Manchester station, and she thought, wouldn't that be a good place for a fictional archway to be? But if you look at King's Cross, there is no gap between 9 and 10.
I've always thought that was
after the wrong station.
I've always thought that was a big plot hole.
Right, plot holes aside, Wizarding World of Harry Potter does not exist. I'm not excluding other wizards and witches, blah blah blah. Don't at me. I'm saying the actual shots of all around Hogwarts. Hogwarts is a model. It's not CGI rendering. It's a big whack-off model that you can visit at the Warner Brothers studio that I've still not been to, but probably should go to.
They used salt instead of snow.
More you know. And a lot of the Star Wars models, when they were good, were models that were just that. And I've always liked Thunderbirds, I'm not going to lie. The original Jerry Anderson production is much better than this new CGI nonce. And all that was done with models.
Can you make sure you use the word nonsense and not shorten it?
I stand by my...
Okay, fair enough.
I will live by the sword and die by the sword.
Did you know when they were doing Thunderbirds, they recorded it upside down? So when you were looking for the strings, you couldn't see them because they were underneath?
No.
Yeah, true.
No.
True fact. I has a real fact for you.
Wow. The more you know.
Yeah.
See, it's things like that I could employ into my my modelling skills.
Whereas I've always wanted to be a model citizen that people look up to.
But if you're morph, they'll look down to you because you're quite small. Unless you wanted to be a giant 8-foot plasticine morph.
What could be better?
Far away. And people would think he's small. It's just really far away.
But then they'd still be looking down on him. And
How do we know that Morph was small?
Because I've seen documentaries of when it was done.
Allegedly.
Yes, I'm pretending.
No, they're alleged documentaries. They might just be fake documentaries because they want to hide the truth.
Well, if the truth is that Morph and Chaz were 8 foot tall, then I don't want to know how big the fucking people were that were stop motion moving them, because they were a lot bigger than them. You're starting to make me worry that maybe the Wizarding World of Harry Potter is real, and we do have like 25, 40 foot tall humans hiding somewhere that only come out to make stop motion.
I believe they're called giants.
I think they prefer stop motion artists.
Tomato, potato.
I don't think we're going to get much more out of this question. And unfortunately,
Wait.
Oh,
Labyrinth. How good was Labyrinth? How cool was that?
hello.
They wouldn't have been anywhere near as good if they didn't have an amazing modelers from Jim Henson's workshop to make them, to give such a crazy aspect on life and creation and being.
Can you get really good at modelling, and then we can refilm the worm scene, and I'll dress up as a little girl, and I can turn around and go, sorry, did you just say have? No, I said has.
And then does that mean we get to get John dressed up as David Bowie? Because I'm sure he was a model for some period of his life.
I don't think we'd need to give John much of a reason to dress up as David Bowie.
Yeah, well, you made Hogwarts. I am Hogwarts.
Well, I would rather be very good at modelling. A, because that was the only answer that gave any arguments at all. And also, John didn't once reference how he was once asked to be a model. And if he had done, then he would have still lost because he didn't pursue it. So therefore he doesn't want to be a model very much. So being amazing at modelling wins.
You can't see it? I'm pumping my fist.
Yeah, fist pump, fist pump. And I figured that it's been a while since we've all been together. So we'll have a nice light-hearted final question for episode 68. So, would you rather end all war, disease, or hunger?
This is episode 70.
No.
Did we skip the episode 69 because it was just full of innuendos?
No, this is episode 68.
It's episode 70.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
John, did you not jot down the notes for the 2 episodes you weren't here for?
Wait. Oh.
I just uploaded episode 67, Tessellating Skin.
Oh. You're so right.
Yeah.
Somebody did this spreadsheet wrong.
Hey, not just a pretty face over here.
I haven't been able to access the spreadsheet yet, so...
I've been on holiday, so I've not been on the spreadsheet.
So by somebody has, do you mean somebody have?
No.
Somebody have fucked up.
Yeah, I mean me, obviously.
Oh.
So,
what was the question?
would you rather end all war, disease, or hunger?
I'm going to say disease.
You didn't sound very sure.
I'm playing the numbers game here. I'll let John pick one and then I will lead in with my argument.
I think I'd rather end all war because...
What is it good for?
What is it good? What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Ultimately, I think ending war would, as a byproduct, end a lot of hunger. You know?
No, because if you don't have a good old war, then there's more mouths to feed.
No, that's... I mean... Economies tend to be more productive when they're not... And when I mean productive, I mean in a good sense.
If we didn't have war, then we wouldn't have super glue. War pushed modern medicine hard, out of necessity.
But a lot of hunger is caused during war because people can't get the resources that they need because of blockades and things like that. I also think that hunger can be resolved through other means.
I thought you were going to say a good motivator then.
But I think overall, war causes a lot of unnecessary deaths. And yeah, obviously hunger and disease also cause unnecessary deaths. But I just feel like if there's one thing that we should feel bad about as a species, it's the number of people that we have intentionally killed rather than...
we has it intentionally killed.
No.
Okay, may I wade in on the point?
Yeah, you can do what you like.
Has you had enough yet? Cool. Not dignifying that with an answer. I like it. Am I still connected?
Yeah. You said can you wade in, and then haven't said anything really.
No, it went very quiet. It went very quiet earlier, and I didn't hear what was going on, and I completely missed what you two said. And I was like, yeah. But no, it's not dropped off. Right. My main point was going to be, you can feed the masses with a powder that you add water to, like the Huel type stuff, or the sort of soiling green, whatever it is. So if there was a philanthropist that decided to really heavily invest in that, we could make starving to death a thing of the past with these nutrient-filled powders. They're not going to be Michelin star quality good stuff, but they will stop people starving and it will stop people being hungry. Human beings are inherently rubbish. We are not very nice to each other, and there will always be war. When there's no conflicts, someone will kick up a fuss about nothing. Someone will then resist or decide that they want a share of something, and there will be minor conflicts in the rest of time because people are greedy and self-centered, And there are going to be those that will absolutely go out of their way to take what they believe is theirs, even though it's rightfully not. So if I were to cure diseases, people wouldn't die horrible lingering deaths. Heart disease is the biggest killer in the UK for people sort of in, what is it, 50 to 80? Heart disease is the biggest killer of people. If I were to cure that, we could have people around for a lot longer. My dad's getting to the point where he tells me every time he updates his will, and that scares me. That makes me a little bit worried and a little bit upset every time. I know that I will lose him eventually, but hopefully that will be to old age or an act of God.
This sounds terrible, but I thought you were about to say this. It brings me great pain every single time he tells me that, because he tells me he's cut me out a little bit more. Sorry.
That's all right. As we discussed in previous episodes, if you listen to them, that I am not the favourite, so that is possible. Although if I cured all diseases and he'd be around a bit longer, I could hopefully win his favour back. And with such a monumentous breakthrough in modern medicine, I'm sure I'd get a Nobel Prize. So
could you imagine all those 19-year-old like supermodels that are with the 87-year-old men for their personality and they love him? If you cured disease, yeah. You could end gold digging.
Quite possibly. Isn't that something to aspire to?
Yeah, I want to be.
I just think there'll always be war, I'm afraid. I know it's really pessimistic, but if we were to end it all today, someone would kick up a fuss tomorrow.
No, but that's the thing. Like, I mean, I guess when does a conflict become a war? I guess is a good argument. And yeah, there's always going to be conflict. But if you could stop all war,
what about like the high street wars?
Yeah.
Who can sell fuel for the cheapest? If you end all that wars, then there wouldn't be any competitiveness in the consumer market, and we'd be priced out of the existence. It would be £50,000 per litre of fuel, and then it would turn into Mad Max, and then it wouldn't be a war. We'd all be living in monster trucks while stabbing each other.
I mean, that sounds amazing.
But in bondage here.
It's the same with disease. I know he got his just desserts in the end, but there was that guy who came up for the cure for whatever it was in America. I don't remember his name, just he had a really smug fucking face. But he was selling it ridiculously expensive, and then someone else broke the code for what it was, how he made it or whatever, and was selling it off ridiculously cheap, and I can't remember the whole story.
It was this guy that his company, there was this guy, he found a company that made it was either a cure or it was a really, really good drug for HIV.
That was it, yeah.
Suppressed it, and he bought the rights for it.
And then pumped up the price, yeah.
I think it was 100 times the amount. So it should have been like £4 to manufacture a week's worth of medication. He was charging £400.
But I believe he's now in jail.
Yes.
Good.
For some corporate corruption type inflation CEO embezzling. It was something really not particularly good and something not particularly clever. And he's also the guy that invested in buying Wu-Tang Clan's most recent album. I believe we talked about it on the podcast, but in the early episodes, they produced one copy of it, and the idea was someone was going to own it, and in its 10-year lifespan of their sole ownership, Wu-Tang Clan were allowed to plan and carry out one elaborate heist to get it back, and then they can release it to the masses. And after 10 years, the person that owns the rights to the album will then cease to own sole rights to the album, and then it'll be distributed here and far. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But when you're Wu-Tang Clan, you can do anything you want.
Oh yeah.
And imagine how long Wu-Tang Clan would be around for if I eradicated disease.
This is a complete segue, but I just had YouTube on earlier and was listening to some music, and it just came up with, those stupid Vivo top 10, and it was a top 10 weirdest bands, and some of them weren't that weird, like Baby Metal. Yeah, I get it, but they're not that weird really on the spectrum. But number one was Insane Clown Posse. Now, I'd never heard Insane Clown Posse other than I've heard of Insane Clown Posse, and it sounded very much like what's that song? You're My Butterfly, Sugar Baby.
Yeah.
Like really soft, nice hip hop. And I was like, what? But aren't like the Juggalos meant to be extremely violent and mental? Which apparently is also true. But it just wasn't the music I was expecting. I was expecting like really like angry, deep Chicago rap music. And it's like, no. It almost sounded very scarry.
Just imagine if we could take all of the resources that we put into war and put them into developing rap.
I think rappers make more money than wars make.
I doubt that's true.
We've probably spent a lot of money on the war on terror, and I don't think we've had many. Our outgoings are better than our incomings.
Do you know how many like restaurants Jay-Z owns?
No, I'm gonna guess.
He owns more than me. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that for a fact.
Does he own 99?
I'm sure there's a joke about Jay-Z investing in sports and owning 99 hot dog stands, but the pitch owned one.
Yeah, I was just guessing. I thought you knew the answer.
No, I know he's an investor. He's a very, very good businessman, and I'm sure that if Jay-Z were in Connie by himself, he'd probably be higher than some of the Central African countries.
Right. This is really difficult, which obviously is because it's the three of the four horsemen, essentially. And obviously, I wasn't going to give you the option of death because then the world is already overpopulated. So I just took three. But, I mean, you get rid of all war, you then get rid of War of the Worlds, you get rid of War Games, you get rid of Warhammer.
Not necessarily. It would still be something that has happened.
Yeah, but we're getting rid of all war.
Have to get rid of all the Lord of the Ring books. I'm sure they reference wars.
Yeah.
No, how much like them?
I mean,
Game of Thrones would be very boring.
We also mostly got rid of like tuberculosis in this country, but it doesn't mean that people don't know what it is.
True.
Here's one for you. You can't have water without the word war.
Depends where you're from.
War. What have you got? Tea.
Depends where you're from. It's difficult. See, I might have to go with disease, only because disease is something that you suffer from all over the world. Doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, male, female, black, white, like everyone's susceptible to the same diseases. And even different diseases, like we're more susceptible in the country for, heart disease, like you said, John, than you would be in a third world country, whereas they're more susceptible to things that we're easily immunised against. So, whereas war, it tends to be your poorer countries tend to be the ones that suffer more. From my understanding, John, you're the history buff. If you could tell me wrong.
Well, in more recent times, historically, Europe was probably the richest continent in the world, and then we spent couple of decades obliterating each other, so it just depends which blip in history you want to look at.
Yeah, I mean, we currently live in the most peaceful time in the history of, in the recorded history of the planet, as far as I'm aware, so...
And yet, there has not been a single day where there hasn't been a war fought since the end of the Second World War.
Yeah, which is mad, because we're constantly at war, and yet it's the safest time to be alive in the history of the planet.
But it's also the safest time to be with disease. You're much more likely to get cured from disease nowadays than ever before.
Okay, it's really difficult. John, you give me a favourite war. John, you give me a favourite disease, and I'll call it on that.
Okay, tell you a little joke. There's a leper hired a prostitute, and they have a good time. And then turn around and the prostitute says, I'd like paying. And he says, oh, but lass, I've already left you the tip.
Oh, right. Very nice. I thought you were going to say it cost her an arm and a leg.
War's not funny. You can't joke about wars, John.
Just looking for any war. Just any war.
Who's the 3-day war between?
I think wasn't that between Israel
and
Egypt?
What about the 100 Years' War, John?
I think that was France.
What about the War of the Roses, John?
That was the House of York and the House of Lancaster.
What about the War of Attrition?
That was the First World War.
What about the Warden of the North? Who is the Warden of the North, John?
That was Ned Stark.
No, I'm talking about in Book 3.
Jon Snow.
No, not in Book 3.
I'm going to call it for disease because...
John's Game of Thrones knowledge isn't up there.
I'm not sure it's a roll of the dice, but maybe more innocent people die from disease than they do from war, but mostly because John's arguing to get rid of war when he likes fighting.
Good call, good call.
And there is probably a lot of people that join like armies and stuff that get their kick out of it, and it just gets it out of their system, that if released into society would then maybe just go around killing for the hell of it. I don't know.
I was hoping you were going to go for hunger.
Who, me?
Why?
Yeah.
That's an
Since neither of us picked it.
No, because then
I'd say it breaks the format of the show, but how many times have we done that?
Anyway, so I will get rid of disease over war. I have to say, if somebody had picked hunger, I might have gone for that a bit more, because
Depending on if you had your dinner or not.
I had a king pot noodle earlier, delivered personally by Big Dave. But yeah, I mean, I wish I could end all of them, but there
are limits to your powers.
There are limits to my powers, and yeah, I'll end disease. As long does that mean I'm still allowed to watch zombie films though if we get rid of disease?
Yes, because the only way a zombie film could actually be plausible is it being a voodoo curse.
Or those mushrooms that release
kill you and bring you back to life again.
The mushrooms that release their spores.
You'd be a parasitic host rather than a zombie, but that's the same sort of, yeah.
That's what happened in Resident Evil 4.
And Last of Us, which is a cracking game if anyone wants to play it.
Yeah, so I guess it depends on your definition of zombie. And on that note, it's been nice to have them back. Tweet at us if you disagree. I can get rid of one of the three of us for Nathan if you want, or get rid of all three of us and just get you a show where Nathan talks to himself if you've enjoyed the last month more than you have the last 18 months. But let us know.
That's a better pitch than Nathan's playthrough that he was going to do, where he just spent an hour playing with himself.
Well, I've been John, and these two have not. See you next week.
Toodle pip.
I haven't had dinner.